Hi everyone, what is supply? But before you watch this video, make sure that you have watched the videos on demand so not to get confused. So supply refers to the quantity of good service producers are willing and able to produce at a given time and at a given period and at a given period, at a given price and at a given period. So therefore, there are three words equally that matters here, just like with demand: the concept of quantity, price, and a given time. So these three words must always be included so that the definition of supply and demand should be completed. In other words, and equally, there should equally be the concept of willingness and ability. So if the suppliers are willing to supply, they should equally be able to supply. So that makes it to become what we call effective supply. So that is supply. What is the law of supply? The law of supply states that there is a direct relationship that exists between price and quantity supply. Direct relationship, what does this mean? It means that as price increases, quantity supply equally increases and vice versa. All of this is happening. We are assuming that this isolated relationship that exists between price and quantity supply is because everything is constant. In other words, ceteris paribus. As price increases, quantity supply increases. Let's look at it on the board. So let's say we have an initial price of P1, and then for that reason we have Q1 as the initial quantity. As price increases to P2, upward movement, we have Q2. So this in economics is called an extension in supply. So because of an increase in price, now let's see a decrease in price from P1 to P3, we have decrease in quantity supply, movement to the left. So this is called a contraction in supply. So all of this is explained for a reason. So that is why we have a big question: why? Why is it that suppliers will be willing and able to supply more of a good when price increases? The reason is because of profit motive. Everything being equal, suppliers will be making more profit when prices are increasing. On the y-axis you see price increasing, and on the x-axis you see quantity supply equally increasing. So suppliers are encouraged to bring more of their products to the market when prices are increasing. Another reason for the profit to back up the profit motive is because when suppliers increase more supply to the market, it actually affects their cost of production. It actually increases their cost of production. So for that reason, they will need to back it up with some increase in prices, or in other words, the increase in price, like it is shown on the y-axis, will be as a motivation to them, so that they will be willing to produce or bring more of this good into the market. So this relationship between price and quantity supply is an isolated relationship that is explained based assuming everything is equal, like all other factors affecting supply is equal. Now, however, there are other factors that affect supply. And we're going to be seeing in this case when price is not the only factors that affect supply. Other factors that affect supply, and this will either shift supply to the right or to the left. So here we have S2 and S3. So we have here supply will either be going to the right or to the left, and price, interestingly, is constant. Price is constant. So here we have Q1, Q2, and Q3. So we have movement to the right, to the left. So price is constant. We have P1. Now, what are some of these factors that are going to be affecting or causing supply to either increase to the right or to the left? Now, these factors, we don't have price here because these are other factors that actually affects supply, irrespective of price. In other words, price is actually very, very constant here. And some of these factors, or all of these factors, are under what we call the cost of production. Cost of production is actually the main reason why a supplier will be willing to supply more of a product or less of a product. Generally, a fall in the cost of production will lead to an increase in the supply of a product, and an increase in the cost of production will lead to a fall in the supply of a product. So let's look at some of these factors. So we start with the first factor we have here, productivity. Productivity refers to an increase in the output of goods and services that workers have actually increased. So if workers increase the output, that is not about efficiency of labor, if there is an increase in the output of goods that are produced, then this will actually reduce the cost of production, and it would cause supply to move from S1 to S2. In other words, an increase in supply. But if productivity falls, then the reverse will be true. In other words, there will be a fall in supply because cost of production will be increasing. In fact, you will be paying workers and they will not be increasing any output. That will lead to an increase in the cost of production. One other factor is indirect taxes. Indirect taxes actually refers to the taxes on goods and services. In other words, expenditure taxes. So this equally comes to increase the cost of production. When producers pay more indirect taxes, it will increase the cost of production, and this will lead to a fall in the supply of goods and services. By the reverse, if there is a fall in indirect taxes, it will reduce cost of production and increase the supply of goods and services. The number of firms is the next point. This number of firms actually does not actually depend on the cost of production. It is not a determinant of the cost of production, but it is actually one of the factors that affects supply as well. And this is how it is explained. A situation where if there are more firms in the market, then supply will move to the right, or in other words, there will be an increase in supply. But if there are less firms in the market, then there will be a fall in supply. So it is independent of the cost of production. We equally have technology. Technology actually refers to the method of production, and it is a massive factor that affects cost of production. So improvement in technology will lead to an increase in supply, because improvement in technology will actually reduce the cost of production. But a fall in technology, in fact, a fall in technology will lead to an increase in the cost of production, and will lead to a fall in the supply of goods in the economy. So we equally have the next factor that we have on the board there is subsidy. Subsidy refers to money grants, assistance given by the government to producers or farmers that will reduce their cost of production, and in return increase the output of goods and services. So if there are subsidies that are available in the economy, then producers will be very, very happy, and this will lead to an increase in supply. Weather here does not actually determine the cost of production of suppliers. It doesn't actually determine the cost of production of suppliers. So in other words, if there is with periods of good weather, supply will increase because farm products will actually be making goods, will be doing well. But during periods of bad weather, supply will actually fall because products will not be doing well. And on the last factor, which is not the least, is actually cost of production. Again, you might be asking yourself, why cost of production? Now, cost of production here, we are talking about the cost of petrol, we're talking about the cost of raw material, the cost of labor, and equally utilities. In fact, all of these, when summed up together, if they are increasing, then it will lead to a fall in supply. But if they are reducing, it will lead to an increase in supply, independent of what is happening to price. Price is constant, by the way. So today we're looking at supply and its curves. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video.